waiting for the election or COVID to end. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. We're all waiting for it to end. The real question is, are you going to continue waiting? Are you going to allow these things to stop you? Are you paralyzed? Because, boy, if so-and-so gets in there or if so-and-so stays in there, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where my business is going to go. I'm going to wait and see what's going to happen. And man, if they don't open things up quick or they don't keep things closed for a while, I don't know what I'm going to do with my business. You see, there's always something. Okay, I'm coming to you. We're recording this in, what is this? October of 2020, right? We're this close to the election and we're this close to possibly having the COVID-19 thing eventually kind of tampered down, be it vaccine or whatever else is coming. And a lot of people are holding things tight. I was speaking with one of my clients today, and she was discussing how people in the banking industry are seeing this phenomena where people are just keeping their money nice and tight and secure in a bank and not spending it. They're not spending it. And a lot of the banks don't know exactly what to do because they don't feel like putting out any fresh investments. They're not, they're doing everything they can to get loans, but the interest rates are so low that you kind of have the same people coming back over and over again, but it's not to the volume that they're wanting. So it's a very odd time. A lot of people are kind of in this paralysis. They're in this space where they don't want to move until they see something change, until they see something predictable come about. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about how you really ought to do something, how you really ought to get off your duff and risk something and do something and put yourself out there. We'll leave that for another time, and yet you've probably seen me say similar things in the past, so it's not necessary. What I am going to do is I'm going to give you something else to do. Here's the homework. If you can't see yourself making a big move right now, I want you to gameplay this out a little bit. And this comes from being a strategist. A lot of what I do is in proper planning. Really, the whole thing is plan, do, check, adjust. Plan, do, check, adjust. Well, right now, if you're not doing, you better be planning. You're saying, well, how do I plan? I mean, I want you to think about the main thing that's stopping you. Let's say it's the election. Okay. The election can only go more than likely a handful of ways. Okay, there's probably going to be one of two different people being elected president. And I don't care if you're listening to this 5 years down the road. You've got something in front of you that's stopping you. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to play out every scenario. I want you to brainstorm. And don't do it by yourself. Get someone else to brainstorm with you. If you've got an advisor you work with, a consultant, employees, anybody who you trust who you can have this type of conversation with. Get out a whiteboard and a black pen or a big piece of paper and just write out every possible scenario that you can think happening. And then pick out like the top 2 or 3. And then say, okay, if so-and-so, if we're using the election as an example, if so-and-so wins the election, what do we expect is going to happen? What do we think we're going to do then? Now, let's say worst case scenario. We don't want so-and-so to win. So if they win and just the worst possible scenario happens, okay, then what? Then what do we do? Come up with the worst case scenario. I oftentimes really encourage people, if you are caught by worry, you need to play out the worst case scenario. You need to take all your worst nightmares and put them down on paper. And then figure out, okay, if this were to happen, realistically, what would I do? Yeah, you're never going to do exactly what you think you're going to do. The whole idea is to get your brain moving in the direction of progress. Get it moving in a positive direction. That's what you have to do. The idea of planning is not so that you have a perfect step-by-step process for doing any possible scenario. That's not what I'm talking about. I want you to start thinking it out. The more you work it out in your mind, the more you gameplay, the more you visualize yourself going through the steps of doing what you know you need to do, but you can't figure out quite how to do it yet. The more you can do that now regarding the future, the more you'll be able to move right now, or be moving a whole lot earlier than you thought you'd be able to move. So in its own way, if you can do this or have somebody walk you through that process, what you'll do unintentionally is you will get things moving faster than you expected them to. And that worry, that cloud that's over you, everything else, it will just disappear, it dissipates. It's a great trick, but it's not just a trick. It's all about perspective. It's about pulling yourself out of the emotional moment or out of the emotions of your mind and putting yourself in the actual present moment. That's what it's all about, being in the present moment and saying, okay, where am I? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? What are the things that are going to get in my way? How am I going to get around them? It never happens the way that you play it out in your mind. It never will. That's not the point. The point is not to have everything perfectly mapped out. The point is to have no fear. The only way you're going to have no fear is if you start confronting the boogeyman right now. Start facing up to it. If you need help with something like that, hey, reach out to me. You can find my info over at brianjpombo.com. But I'm going to suggest another thing for you. Go check out my book. And you go and buy it if you want. It's 9 ways to Amazon proof your business. Or you can go and get your own free copy at amazonproofbook.com. It's all about being Amazon proof. amazonproofbook.com. It's quick. It's short, it's straight to the point. It'll give you an idea of how someone like me could help you through a process, or it'll spark an idea for yourself and you can go off to the races. You really don't need somebody like me, but maybe you'd like help from somebody like me just to help get your brain moving in the right direction. Sometimes it just helps having a sounding board, somebody to talk the ideas out of your brain. I know for me, I need it all the time. Is somebody just to help me get these ideas out onto paper, map it out so that I know what to do next, because you can't always work all that stuff out your own. I know you're a genius, but there's only so much any one person can do. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We'll be back here tomorrow. We're going to talk out another idea on strategy, specific strategies that you can be able to survive today, tomorrow, and into the future. You have a great night. Get out there and let the magic happen.